1.5 billion people.
Just in the US?
There are not that many people in the US, like...
Hello, and welcome back to the Cybernews Weekly podcast. We've got another massive data leak for you this week as our team discovered a data set that contained over 170 million sensitive data records, affecting millions of people. We'll also talk about X being banned in Brazil today after a long and arduous battle between Elon Musk and the Brazilian government. The Brazilian people are trying to bypass the ban using VPNs, but there's a catch. And one experiment revealed that the Google Pixel 9 might actually be spying on you. Is it worth investing in a Google Pixel? We'll find out later. Joined with me this week are my colleagues, Jörgita.
Oh, hello. So happy to see you, as always.
So happy to see you too. And Paulina.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice joining you.
Yes, very good. Nice. So our in-house research team discovered a data set containing a staggering number of sensitive data records that were openly accessible to anyone on the internet, I've heard or I've read from your article, Paulina. So maybe you could tell us a bit more about this.
Yes. So on June 25th, our in-house research team discovered an open elastic search server, which contained, as you mentioned, 170 million records with the sensitive information. So all this leaked data included like full names, phone numbers, emails, locations, employment history, educational history of what could be like around millions of people. Mm-hmm. So the leaked data was labeled PDL, which allowed our researchers to suspect that it's related to People Data Labs, which is a San Francisco-based data broker. And PDL claims to have like records of 1.5 billion people.
1.5 billion?
That's wild.
That's a lot.
Yes, that's a lot.
Just in the US or across the world?
I bet
there are
it's
not
across
that many people in the US. Like the world population is like 8 billion people.
I just looked it up. How did I get I'm so confused.
So yeah.
Yeah, so they are selling this yeah. So they are selling this data for marketing reasons and for all other kind of reasons that people need data for. And it's not the first time the company is involved in the massive data leak, because in 2019, the company was linked to the massive leak of billions of records. And at that time, the company denied the responsibility because it said that it was not, the data was not leaked from their servers. So the same happened now, because it could be that an identified third party leaked the data because the server was not connected to the company, but the data we suspect that belongs to the company.
Let me get this right. So they trade in people's records. So in this case, we discovered an open data set, which essentially could just have been grabbed by, malicious hackers, threat actors, and abused. But if not, they are still trading that data, right? And they are selling that data to interested parties anyways. Do these people even know they're on the database, how they get that data in the first place?
Well, that's a good question, because I guess that we should go back to the business model of the data brokers, which is kind of shady business, in my opinion, because what they do, they collect the, I guess, publicly available data and create those enormous data sets and then, sell it to the interested parties. But the thing is that, they are selling data that belongs not to them, but to people. And it's interesting because when the data is leaked, it's again, who is responsible? We don't know who is responsible. So
it's basically done without people's consent if they just hoard publicly available data and they resell it?
The thing is that the data brokers industry is vaguely regulated. So there is many loopholes in the regulatory base. So it's hard to say if it is legal or it's not illegal. is probably legal because there is no law which prevents that. Of course, there is like acts like GDPR in Europe and some laws in United States, but there is no comprehensive federal law which specifically target data brokers as a whole. And there have been like cases where the data brokers sold information for defense department. For example, one investigation showed that data broker sold location data of Muslim community. It was collected from the praying app, and they used the data to track people. And there is other instances where, for example, during the Black Lives Matters movement, the police department also used the data purchased from the data brokers. And also like in the states where the abortions are illegal. So it's also known that the law enforcement institutions, they used data from data brokers to track potential women seeking abortion.
Terrible.
Yeah, so
I think it's similar to what happened with that Catholic priest a while ago on the podcast. Kind of Catholic clergy association bought information from a data broker because the priest was having homosexual affairs when he shouldn't have been. So yeah, it doesn't seem like the most, ethical of practices.
But also this just seems hopeless. So yeah, we kind of help them and we notified, as always, following our responsible disclosure, procedure that, okay, there's a data set that is unsecured, you need to secure it. But so what? They sell that data anyway, like for money, but do they vet their clients, whether it's like the government buying or some, threat actors buying? They're just sitting on a treasure trove of data that I understand it's public anyway, but the added value here is that they do collect it, and they are sitting on like
1.5
billion.
5 billion, yeah.
People.
So actually, it's like 1/8 of the population on the globe is kind of profiled by some companies which are not even regulated.
Just as far as we know, it's just like this company, and there are way more data brokers.
Sure.
And they do this for marketing purposes, but also it sounds like they do it
like background checks, for example, and for many, many reasons, I think. Whenever you need data, so the guys where
Intelligence, definitely national security. Like if the governments are buying that data, so what are they using for? Not to serve you ads, probably.
No.
And also it could be bought to serve you ads as well.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe that could be a problem that, we know, and that, okay, we give our data on internet, so it will be used for marketing purposes. But I think it's the more shadow side is that, okay, this data also could be used by the threat actors, and also like, in the countries where the governments are authoritarian and where they persecute people, this data could be misused really easily.
Yeah.
But again, this just leaves me hopeless. It's one thing to serve ads. Another thing is, that data is out there that could be bought and abused in various ways, from surveillance to simply like phishing and fraud and identity theft and whatnot. We each might be on that database without even knowing, and we probably are. And what can we do about it? Like change identities? Even if I deleted my accounts right now, the data is
it's
already there.
Yeah.
And there are some things that I can't change about myself, right? Like my face, I'm not going to move that easily. Or, I'm also attached to things like my email and phone number. So my data is there.
There is like... what could be done, like the small things, is that there are services where you can ask for your data to be deleted from the data brokers' databases. So there are like various providers who are providing the service. So like if you regularly delete your data, it could be like a solution for...
You think you can trust it though? that
Well,
they'll
technically,
actually do it.
in Europe, there is a mechanism, a legal one, the right to be forgotten, and you have, your legal right to approach the companies and say that I don't want anything on me on Google, and they are legally, they have to reply and delete that data. Of course, now it's not that easy to contact Meta or Google
Yeah.
or any other big tech. But again, as Paulina mentioned, now there are more and more companies that are also making this into a business, right? So you pay for that service, and they reach out to those companies for you, having like legal ground for doing this.
Okay.
We should try it out.
Yeah.
And see if it works or not.
I'd like to be deleted from the internet.
Oh, no. You are... No.
After saying the US population is 1.5 billion, I'd like to be deleted from the internet. Thank you very much.
Oh, no.
Delete me from this podcast.
You might become viral on the internet. Internet never forgets, but we may try and cancel you. Cancel.
For being
cancel culture.
an idiot. Okay, cool. So, speaking of idiots, Elon Musk has been an active Sorry, maybe I shouldn't. Whatever. Elon Musk has been.
I just remembered
The truth is the truth.
The truth is the truth.
We don't know. We haven't met him, but I remember Ernesta's joke from this morning.
What?
How do you call Musk if he would be fit? How would you call him?
Oh.
Say it.
What, Elon Muscular?
Yes.
Nice. Shout out to you, Ernestus. Anyway, speaking of Elon Muscular, he's been quite an active little keyboard warrior this week after X was shut down in Brazil. Musk and the Brazilian Supreme Court Justice, this is where the names get tricky, Alexandra de Moraes, have had ideological differences when it comes to how social media sites should be handled. In Brazil, I learned that the government can request that social media platforms remove harmful content or content they seem as harmful from their sites, which I thought was interesting. But as we can all imagine, Musk sees this as a form of censorship and something that directly contradicts the vision and values of X being like a free speech platform and all this kind of stuff. So they are butting heads when it comes
Was there any particular incident that Brazilian government wanted some information, some specific information to be removed? Like in Instagram's case in Turkey, there were very specific incidents and narratives?
I've forgotten the actual accounts, but there were far-right accounts on X that kind of related to the Brazilian government, people maybe opposing it or whatever. Far-right accounts, basically, that they wanted taken down, and Musk ultimately said no. And there was also another thing that kind of prompted this blockage, was that Musk was meant to appoint a legal representative in the country who would handle the government's requests for removal, right? He missed the deadline, and he just didn't appoint anyone. So that basically was the catalyst to block X in Brazil.
But it's more like suspended, right? So they are still negotiating, or that's off the table and it remains blocked?
Well, I think now because of the whole Starlink thing, where Brazilian government have kind of seized assets or something with money in Starlink, I think negotiations have stalled after that, but I'm not entirely sure. I think there are 24 million people in Brazil that use X, and people are even willing, I'll get to this later, but people are willing to pay to use it, essentially. So I don't see it being blocked forever. I don't see it being completely banned, but I don't know. What do you guys think about it?
I think we are seeing, the pressure mounting on the tech companies, because this is not the first case, obviously. Okay, this is Musk character himself, and Brazil also, very interesting when it comes to politics. Mm-hmm. Very interesting to watch and observe what's happening there, right? But we just recently saw a few weeks the same in Turkey, only with Instagram, when they asked, that was quite the opposite. I think Instagram hid some of the content.
Yeah, so from the
when the Hamas
October
leader
7th, 6th,
when
7th,
the no, it was when Hamas leader was killed.
Yes, of course.
And there were some people on Instagram,
Who
saying
were
their condolences.
Yes.
And Turkey said that, Instagram censored that content and didn't show it, and then got into the whole debacle with Meta, the parent of Instagram. So, also asking all the questions. So yeah, we are seeing increasing, pressure on those companies. Countries want to know, moderation. How is it being done? Is it being done by people? What are the rules, the algorithms behind it? We had pretty much the same here in Lithuania, like public figures and government reaching out to Meta, asking about the Russian-Ukrainian war and content moderation when it comes to that war. So countries want to know, and we know that when it comes to big tech, a lot of is being kept in secret, like algorithms, moderation rules, and whatnot. I think countries also want to better understand what's going on.
For me, like always, is the question is how effective these bans are, because we know that, okay, China banned the social media, and there is in Uganda, it's also the social media is banned, and how effective is that? Because people, they just can use VPNs and,
but
and use all the
what's
services.
the catch, Niv? You mentioned it at the beginning.
There was a catch. Like in Turkey, we saw that certain VPN providers were being banned or blocked as well. But people, I think, were still able to bypass the ban using VPNs for Instagram. But now, basically, there is a problem for the Brazilian people because the New York Times and ex-users reported that Brazilian people who are using VPNs to bypass the ban will be forced to pay 50,000 reais, which is roughly $9,000. So if you're caught using VPNs to go on X, then you pay a pretty hefty fine.
How are they gonna...
I wanted to ask the same. How they're going to track that.
I don't know how you're going to track that, but I guess it's
Isn't that the purpose of VPN? One of the main ones, that you can hide your tracks, especially from the government that is more authoritarian, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it could be like maybe they could track the downloads of the applications.
Maybe.
But the internet providers.
But if they are banned from like app stores and elsewhere,
then
because what I saw, I don't know if it's banned from app stores, but because from what I've read, it seems that you can still access X, but it just doesn't refresh. Like nothing loads. There's no new information. And on websites, it's kind of blocked. You can't go onto it via your computer.
Okay, but let's say it doesn't make any sense if you want to use VPN for other reasons, like on in the corporations for work security, right? That's one of the major reasons.
Pay $9,000 fine for.
But what if I use it not to access X, but some other services, and just to protect my privacy and whatnot?
Maybe they get information from VPN providers.
Red flag.
Big red flag. But I don't know that for a fact. Don't come for me. I just think that would be the only way to do it, because if your stuff is protected by a little VPN, then how are they going to know?
Maybe that's
just an empty threat. I think it's an empty threat.
Could be just a threat so that people are scared and they don't do it. Because technically it sounds very difficult, and we know that in Brazil the same, big VPN players as ExpressVPN, same as Nord, they have a huge market share there. So, and they are seen as reputable providers that don't really give data to governments.
Well, you'd hope so. I mean, yeah.
Well, I think so, because then there's no business.
Exactly. The business model's flawed. But there has been despite the warning, there's been like a 1,500% increase in people, looking into and downloading VPNs, because people are still, people in Brazil, you know, they seem to be attached to X. Like some of the things I've seen is that like one of the competitors, Blue Sky, which is a decentralized social media platform in the US, they gained like thousands and even millions of followers after after the ban. But people are posting on this Blue Sky saying like, oh yeah, this is really cool. Can somebody lend me like 50,000 Rias? Because they're desperate to get back on X. It's crazy. But
it makes sense also. You want to use your freedoms, right? And you want to use the internet the way you want it. I don't see, why there would be such a backlash here. And the same happened, like a lot of people flocked to Mastodon and Blue
Threads.
Sky after and Threads. But like when Elon Musk acquired Twitter. So there were like so many, especially people in the cybersecurity community, flocking to other social media platforms. Now I see, because I also registered, on different platforms. Now what I see is many experts just posting the same posts on all of those platforms, just kind of trying to get a bigger reach. They said that they were gonna leave X. Maybe some did. I didn't do like a thorough investigation here, but quite a lot of them now, they're just using 2 or even more social media platforms, because on social media it's not as easy as kind of upgrading your device. You still have and that's why social media is so important to us. We built a network there, like people we stay in touch, people we follow, our interests. So that's why you want to stay. If you had like a profile since 2009, you kind of want to stay there for your connections, not only for the reason that, I want to kind of post something. You are there for the people who are there as well.
So I guess you get used to the interface and the kind of way that, because different social media platforms look different and feel different, and I guess that's the same reason why people don't want to switch phones from like Apple to Android, because it's like it's a whole different system.
Also, the same reason why Musk accused Zuckerberg for kind of copying X, Twitter, when he made Threads, right? It resembled Twitter and its functionality, It was pretty much the same as Twitter. So, precisely because people don't like too much change.
Yeah.
You
get used to things, and I think that's fair enough. But yeah.
People resist change. There's nothing new here.
Yeah. Nothing you can do. Right. Okay. So we have a decade-long Apple user in our midst.
And I resist the change. I try, but I can't.
What kind of phone do you use, Paulina?
Android.
Same, Android gang. But we have one lifelong Apple user who tested out...
Surely there are more of us. No, maybe not here.
Well, that's another debate, I think. But for this time, you're outnumbered. So, yeah, as I was saying, Apple user who decided to test out the Google Pixel 9, and you found some interesting things about it, right?
Before that, I want to remind you about a very interesting article that I think our colleague Constantia did last week about a survey. How people having Android phones are getting bullied by those who have iPhones, and eventually some of them succumb to the pressure, and switch to Apple.
Not me.
This is just such nonsense. I don't understand it. But there is like this massive lifelong debate about which is better, which I find so interesting. It's like
it's not about even like being better. It's more like a statement, right? Just Apple is a statement in itself.
I think having an Android is a statement in itself. I think it's like, we are no longer sheep.
Well, it's just having a phone that functions.
Yeah, it's no big deal, but...
Yeah, anyway, I'm not that strong. I don't want just to have like Apple logo on my devices. I'm not trying to make a class statement or something. Some people do. But once I switched because I was looking for a new iPad like 10 or more years ago, and I used Samsung before, and I checked and tried iPad mini, and I really liked the interface, and I thought that because I was primarily buying it for my studies and for reading books, and I just checked the app and found that okay, this is way more convenient and nice, and it was small, it would fit into my handbag and whatnot, so I didn't have any particular reason other than that, and I wasn't team Android or team Apple, just whatever. I bought an iPad, and then upon using it, I learned that, okay, I like the interface. It's actually more intuitive for me. It has less noise, let's say, compared to the Android tablets and phones that I use. So then, that's how it all began. And eventually I bought all the Apple products because they talk
to each other,
yeah, they talk to each other. It's the same interface, so you use the same kind of hand movements, same comments, and whatnot.
I think that's like a virus. You buy one device and then you buy more because it's the ecosystem. So like it's hard if you have, for example, have Android phone and Apple computer. So it's like so complicated.
Well, it's clever. Like I mean, if you make all the devices talk to each other, you're like, well, why wouldn't I have all of them?
Also, like you can make it work. Like I made Garmin work with my iPhone, but to some extent, and it requires too much effort. So it's like, I just buy Apple Watch, whatever. It just works. It's intuitive, and people want convenience, and people would use like much more tech, I guess, if it would be cheaper, and also if it would be easier to use, right? You just need convenience. You just need it for it to be like natural. And, as it comes from the communication philosophy that any media, any device is just an extension of a man, right? So now like phones, they do feel like our extensions, right? Anyway, blah, 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 blah. I love Apple, but I don't love Google for quite a few reasons.
Well, we love you, Google, but maybe not in that sense.
Yeah, that's a love-hate relationship. You see. Anyway, so Google Pixel 9, it's just out fresh in the stores. And naturally, as many other journalists around the world, we decided to try that out. And my colleague Paulus did a wonderful job, like trying all the features, what's cool and what's not about it, some AI features, cameras, So I decided to look at it from the privacy angle. And, we talk about Google all the time. And Google is a data company, right? It's an ad company. It serves you information, which is power. It serves you ads. It trades data and whatnot. And now suddenly Google emerges as this, I'm an electronics company. I make TVs, I make phones and whatnot. And this is a weird switch, right? We talked about this before that, at least what in Europe you are expected to kind of follow. For example, in the energy sector, you can't produce the gas, the oil, and control the pipes at the same time. So in Google's case, it would be like, okay, it's a little bit suspicious that you sell me the device and you also like offer me so many of, data services that you also make money from that data that you are hoarding, right? Of course, allegedly with my approval, but first red light, I guess, red flag, it was a bit earlier when they started showing ads on the TVs that they would sell you. And that's a huge intrusion of privacy, right? You buy TV as a device, I paid my money. Why I'm seeing those ads, right? So that's kind of intrusive. And so, that's why we're looking at Google from this privacy angle. And so, I just tried a very simple feature, which is now playing similar to Shazam, where you kind of just use the app when the song is playing because you don't know its name and you don't want to argue with your friends. You just kind of check it out, right? So I set up my phone. It asked whether I want to use some AI features. I said I want, right? And then, I got this now playing as well. While I used other apps similar to this, I was used to the fact that, okay, if you want for an app to recognize the song, you kind of need to open the app, and record a little sound bit. Well, in this case, I opened the app after, just leaving the phone on my table at home without actually using it. I opened it, unlocked the phone after a few days, and I saw the comprehensive list of songs listed that I was, allegedly listening to. And I did recognize some of them, from, let's say, like Friends were playing on the background. So it registered the theme song as the song I was listening to. And, so in essence, it made notes on what music was playing in my background, just without me asking. Like I accidentally gave probably permission on the initial setup, and it just kept registering the songs that I was playing, and this is really seemed very, very intrusive to me.
Yeah, and super inconvenient. I think if you want to know like a song specifically, you don't want a comprehensive list of everything you've listened to ever in your life.
You get it anyways.
Yeah, but it's crazy. It's like Shazam. You get it out, you tap a little thing, and then you listen to your song, and it comes up like that.
But you see, this is not the problem. The problem is that you have an app that the microphone is always on.
Yeah, that is a problem.
Of course. And Google sent me a very, very long email trying to debunk this myth, but it's not a myth.
But you tested it, yeah.
I tested it, and many researchers and cybersecurity experts, with years of experience and way more knowledge than we have, also, have said this time and time again that your phone is actually able technically to listen to your surroundings and get some keywords and then, serve you ads, or whatever, use it for any other purposes.
Yeah.
And, so again, I wrote this in an article saying that, okay, leaving a microphone on all times, like that, permission enabled for any app is not a good idea. Even if the company, let's say Google or their third party partners are not, tuning in and eavesdropping, that still, threat actors could, abuse those permissions in many ways. So that's not good. And Google reached out to me saying there were inaccuracies and that they are not actually listening and whatnot. They said that...
That's what they all say.
BBC debunked this myth allegedly in 2000. And they sent me a link to that article. So the article was from 2019.
Ah, great.
Nokia 3310, the iconic phone, it wasn't also listening, but can we talk about technology looking 5 years back? Like so many things have changed. Anyway, and it just so coincided that 404 Media, an independent media outlet, also just recently ran an article debunking the Google's debunking and the BBC's debunking. But again, I'm not trying to, kind of talk and debunk the article by BBC from 2019. It wouldn't be fair. It was like different times. But anyway, 404 Media reported that, microphones on devices are actually used for active listening. And, they are used to deliver you targeted ads, and they can give you a few more details on this. So there's this media giant, Cox Media Group, which boasts that it's a partner of Meta, Google, and, other big tech companies. And not only it uses or used at least active listening just to kind of essentially listening to your surroundings to pick up some keywords and then serve you ads. It also, and the journalists shared the slide deck, they also boasted it about it on their website, asking businesses to reach out saying that, we can listen to people's surroundings, and we can help you profile people, and we can, therefore help you serve better targeted ads.
What scumbags.
Now, they removed it from their website, but I mean, journalists shared the whole presentation, and here it is. It says what are the benefits of listening to people's phones and surroundings and whatnot. This is scary. Google, of course, said it has nothing to do with the company and whatnot, but in essence, we know that it is possible. If companies are marketing themselves like that, it is possible. So next time you talk about your shoes breaking, touring, and then you see an ad, well, that's not spooky. That's not some.
But it's not only Google. Like for example, Meta's apps. It happens all the time. You just talk about something and then you see the ads appearing.
Yeah. Oh, they will deny that. They will deny and
of course,
drag you through the mud for this. Again, the funny thing that you can't really disable or it's not that easy to disable some of the permissions because we write and talk about apps all the time, right? And usually, and that's what Google said also, it's easy. You can disable, right, those permissions that you give for apps like to access your camera, files, contacts, microphone as well. But you see, at least with Google Pixel, they're now playing it. The icon appears on the homepage, but it turns out it's not an app because I went to the settings, I went through the apps, and it wasn't there. It just wasn't there. It is a part of Android intelligence system, and if you revoke the permission to the microphone for that particular feature, you probably don't, part of your whole intelligence system on Android doesn't function. So either you turn your mic on for all the features or
none at all. Yeah.
So that's it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I've had situations where it's been like I've had a little chat about, I think it was babies or something, and then I just get all of these targeted ads for like nappies and baby stuff, and I'm like,
they know you so
that's
well.
Crazy! Oh my god! And I'm like, oh okay, they're literally listening to me. It's
but still
terrifying.
Quite poor targeting, I guess.
Well, yeah, because it's just like basic nonsense. It's like, oh yes, I am baby. I need nappies and baby cream. Yes.
Well, at least not a BDSM. I have no idea why, but
like you.
No, but like that's the ads that were
right,
going after me, and I was like, well,
what
you missed something,
about? What kind of BDSM ads?
Like all these leather clothes.
Yeah. Oh.
So.
They know you so well.
We've been talking about some crazy stuff, Paulina.
Yeah, it really fits to my hippie outfit,
Yeah,
all these chains
fits
for
the
sure.
vibe.
Yeah, but I'm still enraged. Like they go to lengths trying to kind of say that, okay, it's not possible. This has been debunked and whatnot, and we're not listening. You'd need to give us permission to access any of that data, and even then we process it in very legal manner. But this is not what those companies do.
No.
Even like with the permissions, it's really hard for the apps to function. Like, okay, you remove all the permissions, but then, okay, if you are chatting, you want to send an audio message, you need to give the permission. And if it's just like not convenient to give the permission every time and revoke it.
I usually, at least on iPhone, I use the allow only when using the app. I know the Android allows the same, right?
It's the same.
But there are some permissions on Instagram that it needs to be on all the time and or off all the time. They don't have this.
That could be expected.
So either you get privacy or convenience.
And most people will choose convenience.
Yeah, well, if you buy a phone like for over $1,000 and then you decide to, I'm a private person, and you disable all the permissions, so that's just a worthless piece of crap,
Is that how much the Google
Let's
Pixel
buy Nokia
it's
again.
over.
Over 1,000?
Yeah. Yes.
For that? That's mental. I don't know. I think that's extortionate, but it gives you AI, I guess.
I hope
so.
next week we can bring Ernestas on. Our colleague is working on a very interesting experiment. So he's trying to de-Google himself, like get rid of all Google-related services and, to find more privacy-preserving alternatives. So I wonder if it's possible, to live without a Google.
Live in the Google no man's
I know
land.
I can live without Google Pixel. It scared me, just the amount of Google services you get.
Yeah.
But he has an iPhone, so I just wonder. We'll see.
Maybe, and we'll try to de-Google ourselves by taking our identities off the internet, off of Google. Maybe, you never know.
Disappear into the night.
Yes, disappear into the night. And yes. Well, thank you for listening in to this week's episode. If you enjoyed what we talked about, leave a comment, let us know what you liked and what you didn't like. And make sure to like and subscribe. And we will see you next week. Bye.